How to bet the Seahawks and the Rams on Thursday Night Football, the triumphant return of the Puff Daddy, and bets for college football's biggest game of the weekend. Happy Thursday and welcome to the latest installment of Bet. That's Tyler Foldrum. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. No Aaron Donald jersey today. Your boys are playing tonight.
No, I actually had to wear Dodger blue as my penance with some friendly wagers I had with our Doug Kezirian, of course, a Dodger fan, and SportsCenter LA anchor Ashley Brewer, a Dodgers fan as well. So, sucking it up.
Cardinals gave it all they could.
Yeah,
they gave it all they could.
Good season and a great game.
It was. All right, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting, where we're continuing to roll out shorts, as they call them, quick hitters with picks on all types of events, such as Fury Wilder, which will be this Saturday. We will discuss that in a few minutes. But we begin today with the good word. Very simple premise. A statement is read. The first word that pops into that noodle, you go ahead and spit it out on the technology, and we'll take it from there. You ready?
Ready.
On Wednesday, the New England Patriots traded cornerback Stephon Gilmore to the Carolina Panthers for a 2023 sixth-round draft pick. Good news, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they've been really aggressive there in Carolina. The word is blizzard.
Blizzard.
Okay? I imagine it's hard to throw a football in a blizzard.
Could be.
Well, after this latest, yet again, aggressive move by the Carolina Panthers to add top-end talent to their secondary, defensive coordinator Phil Snow. See what I did there?
I do indeed.
See what I did
That's why he's wearing the blue today.
Now has a secondary that could be one of the best in the NFL, could allow the Panthers to have one of the best defenses in the NFL at stopping the pass, which, of course, is the most important part of playing defense in the modern National Football League. So blizzard is the word because that secondary is going to be dangerous for opposing QBs.
I like what you're thinking there because I'm right along the same lines. You could slice it from the New England standpoint, but I am slicing it from the Carolina standpoint. Mindset is the word, mindset. Imagine being on that Carolina roster right now. You start the season 3-0, but you suffer some injuries. Christian McCaffrey gets banged up. Looks like he's coming back this weekend. That's good news. But rookie first-round pick, cornerback J.C. Horn, gets lost in a big way. So what do? Do you sit there and sulk? Do you think, 3-0 start, that was nice, season over? No, you get aggressive. You got to love it when your front office believes in you, believes in the team, and believes in the mission. You go out and make the trade for C.J. Henderson. You go out and you acquire Stephon Gilmore. It's only going to cost a sixth-round pick 2 drafts from now and $5.8 million the rest of the season. That's not that much. Plus, you got Sam Darnold on his rookie contract, so it's not like that's costing you a lot of money either. Great move, because if you're in that locker room right now, it's got to be a complete 180 from what you're seeing in Jacksonville, right? They are buying in, and the fact that the coaching staff and front office have their backs, it speaks of volumes. Watch out for Carolina against Philadelphia this weekend, although the numbers moving to Philadelphia. The good word number 2, the Brooklyn Nets, get this, are unsure what they should do if all-star Kyrie Irving remains unvaccinated.
The word I choose is chaos. Now, listen, I think Kyrie Irving's an all-around good guy. I don't think he ever goes out with any overt malicious intent to hurt people or others. I think he wants to help people. But I think he also, with his weird quirks and unique stances, invites chaos into his life and invites chaos into the life of those around him in his orbit. And the Brooklyn Nets and his teammates are in his orbit because he is 1/3 of a very dynamic trio that could be an NBA championship caliber team this year. So he is inviting chaos by being so vague on his intentions and or his actions, knowing that, okay, if I do this, it might help my team. If I don't do it, it's my personal choice. But I'm inviting chaos into my career and my teammates.
Like what you're thinking? Along those lines, my word on this one will be
something?
Not will be something. Is something. Is something. As in, it's always something with this guy. Always. At every turn, Kyrie Irving has to take the story and insert himself right into the middle of that. You realize that, don't you? 1 minute, he's telling the world the earth is flat. Well, if you don't want to get the vaccine because you don't trust the science and the doctors, that's fine. But don't expect a lot of people to rally around you when just a year or so ago you tried to tell everyone the earth was flat. It's that. It's the personal absences on repeated bases, leaving your team out to dry as you take a week here, 2 weeks there during the season. I get it. Things can be tough at times. But this stuff adds up. And eventually when these things happen, your organization has to look around and try to figure out, what are they going to do? Do we have to keep paying you if you don't want to play? And if you're Kevin Durant, why did you ever leave Steph Curry? You think Steph Curry was going to go ahead and hang you out to dry like this? Still mind-blowing to me that he would walk away from that situation. Let's keep it cruising. The Chicago Bears have named rookie quarterback Justin Fields as the team's starting quarterback moving forward.
The word is clumsy. As in Andy Dalton trying to get a first down by using his legs and get to the perimeter. The Bears have handled this quarterback situation in such a clumsy manner. It was very clear who the best talent was, who the best option was in terms of maximizing their win probability going back to the preseason. It was Justin Fields. There would be some rookie learning moments and warts, but his ceiling, what he could do with his arm and his legs, gave the Bears the best chance. But because either Matt Nagy promised the QB1 job to Andy Dalton, or because the social team tweeted QB1 way back in July, they had to force Dalton in there for the first few weeks and wait for an injury until the obvious became the reality. It's been very clumsy, and I feel sorry for Fields that he's been in a situation, because I think he's got great talent, where they're so clumsily handling his transition into the NFL, because so often QBs make or break it because of the environment around them, not their actual talent. He's got all the talent. I'm concerned about the environment.
All right. No disagreements there. I am going to conclude the good word with this word, and that would be Urban. As in Urban Meyer. As in the only human being on planet Earth who could have taken the dysfunction that is the Chicago Bears and make that an afterthought on B12 in your local newspaper as you focus on what he's up to and what Jacksonville's up to. Seriously, the Bears had made themselves the biggest fools, the most foolish organization through the first month of the season with the way they've handled this. You're absolutely right. And then in comes the White Knight himself, Urban Meyer, to create a little bit of a scandal, to manage it improperly, to put his team in a position where he sent the whole team home on the plane and he stayed behind.
Well,
there are former players that have said they've never heard of something like that before. That's what he was out doing.
Maybe Urban, who was rocking his Ohio State pullover at that bar after the Thursday night game, was looking out for his fellow Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields. Maybe that's the chess, the meta game that he was playing.
Lay the points with Tennessee this weekend. I don't know how Jacksonville got any game planning done. All right, speaking of game planning, Thursday night football kicks off in just a little bit. It's the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Seattle for a good old-fashioned NFC West showdown against the Seahawks. Rams currently a 2.5-point favorite, total sitting at 53.5. With Thursday night games, it always comes down to one big storyline. How are the teams handling the quick turnaround from the previous Sunday's game to a short work week on a Thursday night? Lindsey Theory covers the Rams. Brady Henderson covers Seattle. They've got the scoop for you. Let's start with Lindsey. Lindsey, take it away.
Coach Sean McVay succinctly described the Rams' short week between division matchups, saying it's a crazy turnaround, emphasizing that the crazy point is on the players' ability to get their body right. But to that point, McVay says it's all hands on deck, and he expects the entire roster to be ready to go. As for the matchup, quarterback Matthew Stafford is new to the rivalry but knows what to expect here at Lumen Field, telling me he knows it's a tough, hostile environment, while adding that quarterback Russell Wilson is playing at a very high level. Well, Wilson is well acquainted with Rams defensive lineman Aaron Donald, who has sacked him 15 times in 7 seasons, and likens the Seahawks offense to playing street ball, saying that Wilson can make plays with his legs or his arm. Donald telling me it's always a dogfight when we play these guys. Now for more on the Seahawks, let's go to Brady Henderson.
Thanks, Lindsey. Some players despise the quick turnarounds with Thursday night games, but Russell Wilson said he takes pride in how well he's handled that throughout his career. He said the key is getting a head start in your preparation. That's why he was already watching game film and getting treatment on the 90-minute flight home from the Bay Area Sunday after the Seahawks beat the 49ers. Wilson and the Seahawks have been very good at these quick turnarounds. He's an NFL best 9-1 in his career on Thursday Night Football with 9 straight wins. That said, this is always a tough matchup with the Rams, and there's a new challenge this year with the way they're moving Jalen Ramsey around in their secondary. Wilson said Ramsey is a player without a single weakness in his game. And then, of course, there's Aaron Donald, who has more sacks against the Seahawks than any team in his career. Wilson's called Donald arguably the best defensive player he's ever faced. And he said, quote, "He's one of those guys I'll definitely tell my kids about when I'm old and in a rocking chair."
Thank you, Brady. Thank you, Lindsay. Let's go ahead and pick the game. Rams laying 2.5, total 53.5. Best bet. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from the side because it is kind of a toss-up to me. You have Russell Wilson, who's been dynamic on Thursday Night Football. You have the Rams, I think, the better team in that trend that home teams have been terrible, ATS, on Thursday. So I'll tack that total. It's 53.5, and I'm going over. First of all, the Rams, in games they've played this year, 4-0 to the over. Every game has gone over its total. And each and every week, Sean McVay's team has increased its pace and play volume. They topped out at 139 combined snaps between the Cardinals and the Rams last Sunday, I should say, in week 4. So the pace has been coming up. Great matchup for both offenses because the Rams defense has regressed a little bit and the Seahawks defense has not been very good at all. I'm going over 53.5.
All right, you got the total, I got the side. I will lay the 2.5 with the Los Angeles Rams here. It's going to be a public play, but so be it. Sean McVay in his career when coming off a loss, 14-6 against the spread. That's just one nugget we're going to fixate on. The other two are as follows. Seattle's defense, not very good this season. 23rd in opponent yards per play, 19th in scoring defense, 16th in opponent third down conversions. You can move on them, and you can move on them consistently. At the same time, I don't think the Seahawks are all that great. I know they came into the season with a lot of hype. I was down on them. Big win against the Colts. I started to turn around, and I'm realizing something's not right with these guys. Offensively, they're on the field very little, and last week against San Francisco, the Niners flushed that game down the toilet. Kyle Shanahan's now done that 2 weeks in a row. That's a different talking point, but the Niners outgained Seattle by 223 yards and still lost that game. I think if Seattle was 1-3 right now coming off that, this spread would be very different. Opportunity at less than 3. I'm on the Rams. Now, Seattle is going to be popular tonight for the football game. But in just a few days, an entirely different sport will attack that beautiful skyline. And for more on that, he makes his return to bet. The Puck Daddy, Greg Wyshynski. Welcome back, my man. 5 days until the start of the NHL season on October 12th. So here's where we want to begin with you. A lot of hype this offseason on the expansion Seattle Kraken. They opened with a point prop of just 66.5. That thing's been bet all the way up to 90.5. So two-part question. Would you play the over on the Kraken? And then the follow-up, what's the likelihood that the Kraken become the Vegas Golden Knights Part 2?
I wouldn't play the over on the Kraken. I would slam the over on the Kraken. 90.5 points is ridiculous. This team's goaltending alone, in my rankings last week of the best goaltending tandems in the NHL, they're the 6th best in the league with Philip Grubauer and Chris Driedger. I think they're going to scare up enough goals. I think they're going to have an incredible home ice advantage in their first season in Seattle. But do I think they're going to repeat the Vegas Golden Knights magic of making the Stanley Cup final in year 1? I do not. The Western Conference is very tough. The Knights are a very special team chemistry-wise. I don't think the Kraken are there, but they're definitely going to get over 91 points or more.
I'm obligated to say it every time we do a hockey segment around Seattle. Release the Kraken. They look like a good future play for you there, Puck Daddy, but are they your favorite? Are they the best future play when you look around the league?
No, I kind of like another future play, which is the Boston Bruins. Now, the Bruins have a 103.5 point total, and I'll take the under on that, to be honest with you. No David Krejci. He's playing over in the Czech Republic now. No Tuukka Rask. He had hip surgery, currently a free agent. I've seen a lot of analytic models, and the highest point total I've seen for the Bruins is 102 points. I think they're going to be very good, don't get me wrong. Definitely a playoff team, definitely a cup contender, but 103.5 is a little rich for me. I would take the under there.
All right, Puck Daddy, if we were looking for a futures long shot, in which direction would you point us?
All right, hear me out. Western Conference, Winnipeg Jets. For the first time in the last 2 years, they addressed their defense. They brought in Brendan Dillon. They brought in Nate Schmidt. They're going to stabilize that group. They've got a great top line and what could be a very dynamic second line with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Nick Ehlers. But the reason I like them, obviously, one of the best 2 goalies in the league right there with Andrei Vasilevsky, Connor Hellebuyck, maybe your Team USA goalie in Beijing as well. They are plus 1,800 right now to win the Western Conference. And I do like that one. A stealthy cup pick, the Winnipeg Jets.
All right, let's look ahead to the summer of 2022 when we have a new team, or maybe the same team as last year, lifting Lord Stanley's Cup above their heads. Your favorite Stanley Cup winning future?
All right, listen to me. I like the Islanders as a bet They're like plus 200. They've gotten to the conference final twice in 2 consecutive seasons. They're very deep, very good. Problem being, they haven't won the cup because they've lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning in both those seasons. And if you're asking me who my cup pick is, folks, I'm thinking three-peat. I'm thinking the Tampa Bay Lightning win their 3rd straight Stanley Cup.
Wow.
Keep in mind, they haven't had to play 82 games in either of the seasons in which they've won the Cup. So they've not had the full run of games like the other teams have in previous dynasties. The core is solid. They've got Vasilevsky in goal. If they can find a group of 3 guys to replace Barclay Goodrow, Blake Cole, and Yanni Gord, who left their big checking line, I think they three-peat, guys. I think the Lightning could definitely do it this season.
He's the best in the business for a reason, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of him in the near future. The Puck Daddy, Greg Wyshynski, joining us here on Bet. Thanks, Puck Daddy. Have a great weekend.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get back to work. The parlay to paradise, from the ice to what should be a tropical location if we could ever win one of these things. Scaling down from a 9-team parlay last year to a 5-team parlay this year. We stunk last week. Your beloved Mizzou,
Oh, God.
thanks for coming out.
I mean, that was embarrassing.
By the way, Army gave up the opening kick for a touchdown to Ball State. And I told you this in confidence. I'm going to now say it publicly. If you ever watch a football game anywhere on this planet at any time, at any format, it could be Pee Wee Pop Warner football. If the opening kick gets returned for a touchdown, rest assured I bet on the other team. Rest assured, because it keeps happening this year. So with that in mind, special guest pick coming up this week in a few moments. You got 2 picks. What are they going to be? College pro?
Both
double
pro.
dipping? Both pro this week.
And they're both overs.
Oh, playing
the
totals.
2 highest totals that we see
Here we
in
go.
week 5. And yeah, it may seem square, but come on, baby, look at these matchups. Thursday night, we'll get one of these either knocked out or on the board tonight.
You blow this up tonight.
Rams and Seahawks, baby. Seahawks, 32nd in yards allowed per game. Great matchup for the Rams and what they do. Darrell Henderson going up against a defense that's allowing the most rushing yards per game. You have Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Deshaun Jackson, Tyler Higbee, all kinds of weapons there. And then on the other side, I know Chris Carson ain't playing, but Russell Wilson's still the QB. And the Rams defense, while still okay, certainly a big step back from that number 1 defense we saw a season ago. Then you go to Arrowhead for Sunday night. I mean, 56.5 is a lot. But I talked about it on Daily Wager. I'm thinking about an alternate line of 71.5 and putting the over in this bad boy, okay? First and foremost, Kansas City can score on anyone, even the Buffalo Bills, especially at home. And don't think that Buffalo's defense has been propped up by playing Ben Roethlisberger, Jacoby Brissett, and Davis Mills. Now they get Patrick Mahomes. That's a different test. Then on the other side, Kansas City has literally the worst defense in the NFL this season. You don't think Josh Allen and Steph Diggs are going to put some points on the board against that outfit? I'm seeing a 35, 31 type of game, maybe a 41-38 type of game. All kinds of fireworks at Arrowhead on Sunday night.
All right, nicely done. I'll give you a little something. If you can survive Thursday for us,
right.
I'll give you a little something on Saturday to kick this thing off. Michigan State and Rutgers over 50 points on the team total. There's still this perception of Michigan State as this really slow, boring, sluggish type football team like they were under Mark D'Antonio for so many years. It's not really the case anymore. Under Mel Tucker, these guys can play. They're 5-0 this season. Michigan State games are averaging about 59 points per game. Sparty themselves are averaging 37 points per game. That's 17th in the country. I think the number is down a bit because of Rutgers' offense over the last 2 weeks. They've only scored 26 total points. That came against Michigan and Ohio State, 2 of the best defenses in the conference. Michigan State's defense is okay, but I think Rutgers gets back to their scoring ways in this game, and they're able to handle their share of the workload. If we continue to survive, I will join you on NFL Sunday, and I will play the under in the Chargers-Browns matchup in Los Angeles. Baker Mayfield dealing with a partially torn labrum, so that's one thing to consider. These are 2 teams that play outstanding defense. They're both top 7 in scoring defense. They're both top 12 in opponent yards per play. Cleveland's number 1 in rushing attempts per game, and I believe they are 27th in pace, which is a recipe for an under here. The Chargers have held every opponent they've played this year to their lowest point total of the season. They've been very good defensively. Those are our 4. Special guest this week is none other than the God himself, Doug Kezirian. Douglas, what do you have for us?
Joe, Tyler, I want to do my part for Parlay to Paradise, and I'm going to focus on the Chiefs' defense. They're that bad this year. Achilles heel, we know that for Kansas City. Not even average, below average, especially against the run. Dead last in a lot of key categories. So I'm going to focus on the Bills' team total over 27.5. All 4 Kansas City opponents this year have gone over their team total. I think we could see a shootout at Arrowhead Sunday night. Not going to worry about who wins. I'm just confident in Josh Allen, the Bills, to get to 28 points or more.
All right, so if Douglas ends up hitting his, there's a good chance you end up hitting yours. Those two go hand in hand. $100 pays 25, 52, 22. It would be nice if once in the history of this show and this segment, we end up scoring.
I feel good.
By the time we do, it's really just going to cover the debt from all the ones we've lost. We're going to end up breaking even, but that's how it works with the Monster Parlay. All right, let's keep it moving. Speaking of money, Diamond Dollars. Part 2 came to its conclusion. Fantastic job. Round of applause. If you want to see the final score, this guy turned $100 into $329.37. Nicely done, going with the Dodgers over 5.5 runs. I believe that was against Vince Velasquez,
your boy,
from the Padres. Now, I tried to make a move on you. I went with a 2-team run line parlay for everything I had left, which was $77.
Right.
The Dodgers got there. Right. But the Giants won, but didn't win by 1.5. They won by 1. So it ended up cracking me. I am all out of money. Thankfully, I have a good friend with $329.37 to his name. Maybe I can get a loan. We begin the playoffs. Of everything left tonight and tomorrow, where would you go? Give us something.
I'm going to look at the Rays Red Sox Game 1 matchup. Right. Now, lay it with the Rays. It's the price and the steam is going towards the Rays. It's making it a less valuable bet for the bettor. But I still think there is a little bit of an edge if you back the Rays. Minus 170 implies a 63% probability that the Rays win this game, okay? Don't like laying that juice, but that's the number. This season, as a home favorite, the Tampa Bay Rays were 45-19. That's a 70.3% hit rate. So you have 7 percentage points of value for you as the bettor on betting the Rays on the money line at minus 170. Again, I don't like laying that price, but I still think it is a price that is too soft for what the Rays showed us this season.
Same game. I'm going to go over 8 runs in this matchup. This is not a Max Scherzer, Adam Wainwright type of game. This is 2 pitchers who are okay and have had their moments, but 8 runs, too low in my opinion. Eduardo Rodriguez, and we've got Shane McClanahan going, 2 lefties. And remember, these are 2 teams that are very, very good against left-handed pitching this year. McClanahan went up against this Red Sox team a month ago, September 2nd. They touched him up for 4 runs in 5 innings, so they have gotten after him. Now, these 2 teams over their last 36 meetings have cashed an under ticket only 10 times. Just a fun little fact. We're not going to buy too much into that trend because the situation is very different tonight versus the rest of those games. But Eduardo Rodriguez in his ERA north of 4, he should give some runs up. McClanahan gives some runs up. Let's get an over. All right, all these unders in baseball games to start the playoffs. Let's get ourselves a good old-fashioned over, shall we? All right, let's keep it moving to the city of Las Vegas, where we currently reside. Fight night, as the trilogy between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder comes to an end Saturday at T-Mobile Arena right here in Vegas. You can catch the action on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Fight 1, December of 2018, a split draw in which Wilder floored Fury at the end of the fight, and Fury somehow got up. Fight number 2, February of 2020, Fury wins by TKO in the 7th round. Currently, Fury minus 270, Wilder's plus 220 on the comeback. Your over-under is 7.5 rounds. How would you play it?
Small little taste on the underdog. I think that's pretty good value at plus 220. For the fighter, I think is better, even though in this heads-to-heads, he's 0-1-1, so to speak, against Tyson Fury. But I love the value there of Wilder, who, if he is the boxer I think he is, will go out there and prove it. And if he is the man that I think he is, will have a little bit more motivation than Fury, who's already beaten Wilder. Last time they fought, TKO. Wilder, if he wants to have a trilogy fight with another in his class and go 0-2-1 or 0-1-2, that's not going to sit well with him. So this is situational handicapping. Right. You know, with the boxer, I do think it's better, but I think he wants this more, and it's his last opportunity to kind of mark off the one blemish he has on his resume.
Fury has incredible one-punch knockout power. So I don't want to lay the 270 with Tyson Fury because there's a little too much risk there in my opinion. So I'm going to isolate something specific. I'm going to play Fury to win the fight, but he's going to do it by KO, TKO, or DQ. There I only have to risk $110 to win 100 versus the other way with Fury, which is risking 270 to win 100. So what's the catch? Well, if this fight goes to the cards, I lose either way because I need this to end by stoppage. Look at how the fight is priced. The over-under is 7.5 rounds. Floyd Mayweather fights, which always went the distance, were generally priced at 10.5 for the over-under, maybe even 11. This is 7.5. This is the bookmakers telling you it's more likely to not go the distance than to go the distance. Fury has the edge when it comes to fight IQ, when it comes to ring savvy, and all that good stuff. And he has shown us the chin in that first fight to take one of those Wilder punches and be able to survive it. Remember, Wilder put some weight on for this fight because last time the extra 40 pounds, Fury just leaned on him and wore him out of gas early in that fight. I think he's going to be a little bit slower, and that might end up hurting him in this fight. Fury at -110 by KO, TKO, or DQ. Let's wrap it with some college football. 3 big games to focus on this weekend. Let's start with the Red River Showdown. Oklahoma's laying 3, total of 63.5 against Texas. How would you play it?
Yeah, you see the numbers against the number this season for both schools. OU has been wildly unimpressive, 1-4 ATS, and they don't have a cover against, I believe, a Power 5 or an FBS school. Meanwhile, Texas is 4-1 ATS under Sark, and this is obviously a rivalry game where anything can happen. Both schools will be up. Texas has just been more impressive against the number, so I'll take 3 points, put it in my pocket, and I'm not a Longhorn fan by any stretch of the imagination, but my money's on the line. If I see potential value, even on Texas, I'll take it.
There has been Texas money over the last 2 days, went from 3.5 down to 3, which is a key move onto the key number of 3. I'll play the total in this game. I'll go over 63.5 points. Steve Sarkisian has just been a masterful play caller at Texas. You watch some of these Texas games, he has done an incredible job setting up some of these plays. And as a result, Texas is averaging about 43 points per game. They're top 5 in the country in scoring. Now, they're going up against a very good Oklahoma defense that should limit that 43-point output, but not enough so that Texas can't handle its share. On the other side, that's the problem for Texas. Defense, getting the stops. And as sluggish as Oklahoma has been offensively breaking from the gates, this is the game where they pick it up. I believe this one goes over 63.5. Game number 2, Georgia laying 15.5, total of 46.5 at Auburn. Are you going to lay the wood here?
I'm not going to lay the wood, even though I do think Georgia is the much better team. I'll attack the total. I'll go under 46.5. I don't know if you've noticed, but the Bulldogs against their last 2 SEC opponents, 99-0. They're pitching a back-to-back shutouts against SEC competition. Now, it's not been great SEC competition, but their defense might be the best in the country. Say what you will about any of the other 127 other FBS schools, they might have the best one. And Auburn's is okay. They have some talent on that side of the ball. Plus, Georgia's offense is kind of less than 100% with JT Daniels being out and having to turn to Stetson Bennett. So I think this is a low-scoring game that Georgia wins, but not with them running up 30, 40 points. 21-10 type of game, keeping it well below 46.5.
A lot of times you talk about good NFL teams, the ability to rush 4 and then drop 7 in the coverage. Georgia rushes 3 and drops 8 in the coverage. That D-line is that good, they can only rush 3. Now, I lay all that out. My pick is going to be Auburn. I'll take the 15.5. At home in a matchup where the game is totaled 45.5. Undefeated Big Bag Georgia coming to town. I don't think I need a lot from Auburn. And I don't think I'm going to get a lot from Auburn. But maybe 17 points is enough to cover this spread based on how this game is going to play. Remember, Bo Nix, home versus road. At home, 63% completions, 20 touchdowns, only 1 INT. On the road, 54% completions, 10 touchdowns, 10 INTs. Although he did play okay at Penn State and LSU last week, he deserves more credit. But historically, on the road has been his problem. Just get me a little bit Auburn, and this is going to be enough points to get home. Please. I'm not that confident. I got to be completely honest with you. Final game, Iowa laying 1.5, total of 41 against the Penn State Nittany Lions in what should be the game of the week.
You know my favorite bet in college football this season has been an Iowa under, especially at Kinnick Stadium. So I will not be deterred by the, especially in college football, minuscule total of 41. This is a classic Big Ten rock fight. I'm going under, dating back to 2019, Joe Fortenbaugh. The Iowa Hawkeyes are 12-2 to the under at home. 12-2 to the under, dating back to 2019, a perfect 3-0 to the under at Kinnick Stadium so far this season. If Penn State had this dynamic offense, or if Iowa had a dynamic offense, I may be deterred, but under is the play here based on what I've seen.
There is no better tradition in college football than when everyone at Iowa Stadium, players, fans, coaches, everyone, turns to the Children's Hospital that's directly next door and waves to all the kids up in the window during the game. It is the best tradition in college football. But now's not a time for sentimentality.
There you go.
As a Penn State graduate, not betting Penn State. I know what it's like to go to Iowa when you have a good season. I think it's 2008 is on the phone when they ruined everything. So I'm going to side with my man.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the under. Both teams top 3 in scoring defense. Both teams top 8 in opponent yards per play. Both teams outside the top 70 offensively in plays per game. No one's running up and down the field. Iowa has no explosion on offense. Penn State's not going to be able to do a whole lot of explosiveness on offense. That's even a word as I just stumble to the finish line here. Bottom line, if the defenses don't set up great field position in this game, I think it's going to be a slugfest.
Both teams 4-1 to the under as a whole this season.
That's a show. Now we turn our attention
I gotta
to
go
the Rams
watch my fighting Rammies.
and the Seahawks. He's Tyler Fulgham. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you at noon Eastern on Sunday for the next installment of Bet.